Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Hey, took a little bit of a delayed connection there.
Yeah.
Happy Friday, y'all.
Hope y'all had a great Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Spent a lot of time with friends and family, and
hope you had enough Pepto-Bismol to get you through the evening and all that good stuff. So we had a nice time with family, and we head back to Oklahoma tomorrow after a little bit of family time.
I wanted to show something though, so hold on.
All right, here we go.
I don't know if y'all can see that. That's been our view from our bedroom. And you can see way over off in the distance is the Great Salt Lake. We're up pretty dang high at one of the local ski resorts that I used to live by a while ago.
So staying with a friend, and one of Michelle's friends that I inherited through marriage, and she's been a wonderful friend and great host, and we've really enjoyed the space here and being able to be in the mountains before the snow hits.
Yeah.
It's supposed to start snowing this evening up here, so.
Yeah, they weren't able to open up Thanksgiving Day weekend for skiing, so.
Yeah.
Do we have any announcements, anything? We're heading home tomorrow, so we'll be back in our home studio.
No big announcements, except I would just remind those folks, we've got the end of the month comes this weekend, and so for our dealer members in V8 and those dealers who are contemplating getting into V8, be sure to grab your inventory values and your notes receivable value, principal balance for all receivables at the close of the month, so that we can have clean numbers for December. So
absolutely.
I think that's it. Shall we jump into our stuff?
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about showing some video of one of the dealers that we've done questions with around just their business and how they feel about their business and some of the things that they've done and struggles. And so you want to go ahead and...
Yeah, let me explain who this is. Dealer Jeff Owings. I got to know him through our V8 dealer groups. He's well known in the industry because he's been in a lot of 20 groups over the years, and is also a great mentor to many. He's been really generous with information. And, we're doing our pick six today. He picked 6 questions to come and answer, and we recorded several days ago. And so now we're just going to play that. There's a chance we're going to break this into 2 parts because he gives a lot of good information, and we may just cover like the first 3 questions today and save some more for next time because there's quite a lot of good stuff there. So shall we go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Introduce you to Jeff. I think whenever it starts, you want to share it.
It's in there.
There you go.
Full screen. Go ahead.
Welcome, friends. Got another Pick 6 conversation with this time dealer Jeff Owings out of Arlington, Texas. Glad to have you here, Jeff, and glad to have our audience get a chance to know you better. I know you're a longtime 20 group member. A lot of folks out there in the industry know you, but for those who don't, you might share a little bit about your background.
Well, thanks, Jim. Glad to be here. I've been doing this a long time, my whole adult life, since I've done it. This is my 41st year. I really enjoy this business. So I love learning. Been in groups the entire time and continue to join other groups when they come along. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the industry.
Yeah, for sure. And I have enjoyed getting to know you. Jeff is a member of one of our V8 dealer groups. And so as I've gotten to know him, I understand why he's, widely respected. And obviously with those decades of experience, you've learned a thing or two, and you're generous about mentorship. And today's another example. We're going to talk through some of the things that you have learned in your time in this buy here, pay here world that we live in. So let's start off with the first question I had for you was, what are some of the KPIs that you look at on a daily, weekly, whatever interval you choose or whatever you spot? But what's some of the KPIs that you lean on regularly?
Well, I thought about this question, and wouldn't even know where to start. I have so many of those. If I counted them, I'm sure they're over 30 that I look at daily. And I don't only look at them; I prepare them myself. I don't have anyone build a dashboard. I know that's options for people, but I like to do them myself. I like to fill the numbers and put them in myself. And
Yeah.
the one that I've noticed when I've spoken with you in the past that you've taken the most interest in, I thought would be a good one to share. And it's one that I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I don't know that many dealers that do this one. I've got a few friends of mine that have started doing it. It takes a while to have any real meaning. But what it basically is every single sale we do, finance, it's got the car, year, make, model, miles, customer score, PTI. It's got, just a spreadsheet that I input as we sell a car daily. And then we follow, that stays on that spreadsheet forever. They're moved over to a closed. And so I'm able to look at let's just say this car. John Doe bought it, and I had $10,000 all in. There's a day where that account's closed, whether it's paid off or CPI, insurance, or just paid off the last payment and handed them the title. So there's good ones, bad ones, and the ugly ones, which would be a skip or left in a pound or something.
Right.
Well, I put in everything that we ever received from the customer on that spreadsheet. And then the difference of that and what we had in the car is what we made theoretically on that vehicle. Right. There's all kind of other expenses along the way of collections and things, and some repairs, but just basically the car and then what we collected. And I'm able to take that list over years and years and sort it however I want to see which years, makes, models, miles, cost, PTIs, customer scores, car scores. I can sort it in numerous ways. And what I want to do is continue to refine the types of deals that make the most money. So, and then that includes when we receive from the customer the reclaimed, repossessed vehicle. So that's called the good, bad.
I love that. Good, bad, and the ugly. It's kind of like doing a postmortem on individual cars, but keeping it all on a spreadsheet, which becomes something that you can slice and dice and look at as data in lots of different ways. That's a really, it's a great idea. It takes a lot of discipline too. And, I don't know if they ever miss any of them, but when you can get a fair share, a good amount over the course of 3 years, I think that's an awful lot of really great data.
And he's got way more than 3 years. So he's got, years and years of data and thousands of accounts. But the postmortem, is typically kind of reserved for a charge-off analysis where this analyzes the charge-offs, it analyzes the payoffs, it analyzes all types of sales. And so it just gives him a good feel for performance, whether they were good, bad, or ugly. So that's why he landed on that phrase.
I like that. And I like, we're constantly talking about you can't change what you don't measure. I mean, well, you can change it, but you don't know whether or not what you're changing is really working. And you really, a lot of times don't know if there's a problem that can be fixed if you're not measuring as you go along. And so keeping a stream of data, we've had a few dealers that we've worked with. Tommy Brandis is one that he's got years of data that he's been collecting. And it's powerful stuff that you, as at each individual dealer, because business models vary so incredibly much, and so it's being able to give you a better look into it. And if you ever have a consultant or a coach or someone who's coming in to help in some way, that kind of data is very valuable for them to look at.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. This is, like I said, this is Jeff's own deal. And let's resume the video because I think he explained something else I'm thinking about on this subject, but we couldn't resume. You want to share that format?
Ugly, and if there's no reward in starting that today because it takes 2, 3, 4 years for it to be meaningful. But if you're going to be in the business a while, I would get started on it.
Yeah, it's really incredible. I think it's a little bit different than what some might call static pool. I mean, it measures different things, and for you, you're looking at very specific things. I think that's really useful. One of the things you touched on at the beginning that I don't want to breeze over, because I don't find very many people talk about this, Jeff, and that is, you talked about that you do these yourself because you like to feel the numbers. It's interesting that you use that phrase, because I've said to dealers, it's important sometimes that we touch this stuff, right? That we know it, we feel it, and so I think that's a significant part of what you talked about. So you might explain for those listening that haven't experienced that. It's like, why do you feel like it's important to personally touch that stuff?
Well, when I hit a dashboard and I pull up just say number of sales, for the month and revenue and gross profit, I like it punching those numbers in. If I glance at it, and let's just say it's at this point in a given month, it's 30 sales. Later that afternoon, someone might ask me, "Hey, how many sales you guys at?" And I'm like, man, I should know that. I just don't.
Yeah.
I like to punch the numbers in.
Yeah.
And I'm just more aware of all the things, the gross profit, the pace, what is our sales pace for the month if we keep selling at this rate, or what is our charge off pace? I think that's just probably me, but I'm more able to answer those questions and be aware of them if I've punched them in myself.
Yeah, well, I get it. I think it just kind of keeps you plugged in and keeps you aware and informed about what's going on. That's good stuff. So what about your buying experience? Decades of doing this, you bought yourself a ton of cars and you've kind of shifted your business model. We'll talk about that soon, but talk to me about like buying tips. What are some things, especially for folks that are newer to the business, what would be some tips that you would offer for being better at buying?
Well, I see a lot of people post different things on buying, and I hear a lot of answers, and I like them all. I like all of the things that people look at. They're online. They look at every single picture. They just study it, spending a lot of time to do it online versus, people that are there touching the car, trying to be the first one to start them and that sort of thing. On top of all of those, because I think those are pretty commonly discussed. There's a couple things that I like to do, especially if I'm branching into some kind of new type, different car that I've not bought much or don't have much experience with or hadn't bought in several years. I keep carpart.com up on my screen and I look at it all through the day. But if someone says, "Hey," or I'm looking at it and there's a car that I hadn't bought in a long, long time, or 10 years, or I've never bought, I like to pull up on carpart.com the motor cost and the transmission cost. It's amazing that you can pull up a pretty new car. I deal in a little bit more expensive cars at this point in life than most buy here, pay here dealers. So pull up a pretty new car and there'll be a motor for $300.
Wow.
And I'll just like, well, that is a sign for me that that's a good engine, because no one needs it. So yeah, I'm not afraid to buy that car, but let me look at the transmission and it may say $4,500.
Right.
So if I'm not necessarily smart enough to know all the positives and negatives about every type of car, a cheat sheet for me is looking at the price of the engines and transmissions for that year, make, and model.
That's great. You're the first person I've heard say that. That makes so much sense. I think that's
first person I've heard ever say that, and that is really smart.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think it's an indication. I think of what makes Jeff, successful, and some of the things that you pick up on over time. And I think one of the things you'll also hear in some of Jeff's remarks about account management is, he's learned to kind of plan for worst case scenario, for lack of a better explanation. And I think if it's seeming like, Michelle, we may need to cut today short because it looks like our streaming is lagging a lot. I can't tell if our viewers would have the same experience, but we're seeing delays and lagging. And so it may make more sense to save some of these other questions for next week. But yeah, you'll find with Jeff that he he kind of plans on a lot of his modeling and his work is kind of a worst case scenario. What does it look like, when the customer's not successful? In this case, what does it look like when the car's not successful? So that I know what it's going to cost me to get it back on the road, right? And so that's part of what he considers. And so I think this is good relevant information to be aware of. And so again, I think for today we should probably
just like two really great nuggets though. One of the things we talk about frequently is measure.
Right.
His is good and bad and the ugly. He'll go through and spreadsheet things like the PTI, the make, model, year, miles, how much payment, how many payments came in. And I'm sure that there are things in there. It's like, why did this contract end? And that's, it could have been a charge off. It could have been a payoff, any number of things. So really great. It's really important to measure. And I do like that thinking forward. And I know, like in my personal experience buying cars, I usually will go to Consumer Reports and things like that. And it's like, what is the most reliable, the easiest to fix, the least expensive to fix, that has the comfort, luxury, or gadgets that I want. And I like, we're not buying for me, but it's kind of that same type of way of looking at what is going to be a good car for us to have on our fleet, on our inventory.
And I think all dealers are obviously trying to buy cars that are going to prove to be dependable, and they know that they're machines. They break. And so the question is, what is it going to take to get it back on the road when it does break? So that's part of it. And they're also buying some cars with miles typically. So I think let me kind of share with our listeners what they can, if we come back and hear part 2 with Jeff. We also asked the questions about, since you started, how's your business model shifted? Mm-hmm. And their approach or philosophy around collections, which is quite interesting. You're going to want to hear that one. And then changes in underwriting practices since he started, and he's made a pretty recent one. That's a really
great question to ask. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we wrap up with, scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love this business? And so we talked about that part too. And I think you can already pick up from parts with Jeff, you can maybe guess what his answer is going to be. But it's interesting. I think we've also got recorded already with Nick Duman out of Pennsylvania. We featured Nick on Wednesday for his turkey giveaway promotion. You'll want to come back and hear Nick's answers, and then we'll be reaching out to some other dealers even today and getting some folks scheduled. So we'll have some more come in and answer the pick six. So if you're a dealer out there listening and you want to be part of the podcast, by all means, find that link. We'll get it shared again so you can find your way to that and book a time to record with us and share your thoughts on some of these subjects. So. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in. Sorry for the kind of internet lag here. We'll just try to pick back up with this conversation with Jeff this Friday.
Yeah, I hope everybody did have a great holiday. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are moving about, traveling about. Business as usual today for many of our dealers and industry. And so I hope you guys have a fantastic day. People are at Christmas shopping. All right. Have a great day. Again, thank you for joining me. Know that you're busy. You have a choice on where you spend your time. Thank you for spending your time with us. All right. We will see you all on Wednesday, and we'll be back in our home studio then.
See you next week.